Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Man Manga Boy Reads Manga. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I always forget to say that. But it would really help me out a lot and also help the channel out a lot if we can get that done with. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 13, because this is an omnibus breaker here. Just wild, just an insane amount of manga here because of that haul I got just this past week and last week. I got a lot of titles in that I pre-ordered and was dying to read, one of which we'll start with right here, Eden Zero Volume 14. This picks up where our heroes left off on this weird planet where robots are trying to take over, or kill rather, all the humans and enslave them. The roles are reversed. We find more about this kind of hierarchy of the Orsi and Seis in this world, which have existed since Rave Master and Hiro Mashima's series, but that's okay, whatever. Anyways, we find out there's a third gravity user. We have some actually pretty cool fights here. Rebecca shows off her fan service as always, but again, I do like it more than most of Hiro Mashima's most of his work. Otherwise, she's not nearly as bad as Lucy was. And I can't even remember the girl in Rave Master's name. I think her name's Ellie. But I remember her starting off not super fan servicey, but then getting there. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't read the entire series yet, but I think that's how it goes. Let me know in the comments. But I am really enjoying the series quite a bit. I am interested to learn more about his grandfather, Shiki's grandpa, and also these other gravity users. And furthermore, learn more about what's going on, because I really enjoy how we find this guy. He's the guy that tortured our poor girl here, our waifu here. And she was tortured by him, and it made her not want to be, friends with humans. That's Hermit. That's why she went into that other world. We also get to see our Elsa clone fight. She gets to, dematerialize its stuff and make it into the real world. And of course, we go overdrive with Shiki. Always sick to see that happen. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this series. Let me know if you are, please, as well. I like to talk about manga with people. Demon Slayer, Stories of Water and Flame. I think this came out in December. I got it in January. Whatever. We're talking about it in February, right? So this shows us how Jiu becomes, what he does after he runs into Tanjiro. And also it shows us a bit about Rengoku and how he becomes the Flame Hashira. Did I say Gyu becomes flame? No, Gyu water. I don't know what I said. Anyways, this is a really cool demon who has all these guns. He runs out of bullets though. It's like, that doesn't make sense to me, whatever. We also find out that Rengoku was training with the Love Hashira before they were Hashira. I had no idea that was going on. Very cool to see it. And lastly, we finish it off with these little mini 4-Koma series, comics, whatever you want to call them that. I guess we're in between episodes in Japan, running in another show in Jump magazine, which, were pretty comical, I guess. They're just kind of whatever. I did really like this series. It's not written by our main writer here, but it is written instead by Ryoji Hirano. And, it's definitely worth keeping in your collection. Is it great? Is it everything you love and missed about Demon Slayer? No. Is it good? Yeah, it's still pretty good. Demon Slayer, the manga, I feel like got progressively better. This is just little bits of stories from kind of towards the beginning or even before the beginning of the series. So, it's not carrying quite as much hype as before, but to have more characterization of Rengoku is always awesome. To have a little bit more insight about Gyu is also always really cool. Those are some of the top favorite fan characters out there. Fire Force, Volume 25. We pick up where we left off with the first pillar showing up, I guess, right? And, well, a lot of crazy stuff happens in this volume, I gotta say. We go back in time. When we go back in time, I guess someone takes over the body. We get this sick... I love this character right here. Is sick. He's got one of my favorite powers, where he can use this flame ink, and he snowboards, and he's just sick. Flamey ink, fourth force dunk. So yeah, he's one of my favorite characters. Got one of my favorite powers. We get to learn more about the world of Adola and the before times. This I thought was insane. When we go back in time, and our main character just freaks out. You can see the world here. It looks like the author just took a picture of Tokyo or something like that. And like he's just tripping balls when he goes to the past. And it's just like, what is happening? And apparently this is all like, look, see, it's just like a picture. And this is like all before the first, apocalypse or something like that. However you want to describe it. But apparently now he wakes up, there's been a few months have passed and there's 5 pillars risen at this point. We get a lot of insight into things to come. Apparently everybody's powers are stronger as the pillars are raised. And therefore, we have to get more powers from Arthur, right? Arthur's got to be stronger, and so does Shinra. But we don't get to see that quite yet. We just delve a little bit more into the mystery of Adola and what's happening with this great cataclysm that's coming up. I really enjoy this series. It's too bad to hear that it's ending soon, but it's also great that it's ending soon because I have been enjoying it so much. I only thought the anime was okay, but I didn't ever watch season 2. When I was reading through it, I also didn't think it was great. Just thought it was okay, whatever. But then I got to like volume 17 or 18, something like that. And then the story flip just switched and I was all in. This series has really taken off ever since. I like can't get a bad volume out of this series if I tried at this point. After that point hit, the series has been taking me in this weird mind trippy path. The powers keep developing in all these different and unique ways, and the world just seems to get further and further away from the goal. I feel like it's getting closer and closer to the Evangelius winning, or however you say that word. Evangelius? I don't know. Undead Unluck Volume 5. Again, this is another trippy kind of a series where we find more about the apocalypse. A lot of apocalyptic jump titles these days. Or shonen titles, rather. Fire Force isn't jump. So we learn more about Victor. We learn more about the world before and after this one. We learn more about, Andy. So that was really cool. And we get this cool manga artist user / I don't even know. They're not really negator, maybe they are, I don't really know. Some fourth wall breaking with Shueisha, which I thought was wicked funny. But yeah, this was a pretty good volume. I can't say it was as good as the last two, but this one is still really good. The mysteries are becoming a little bit more, I don't know, unwrapped, I guess is a good word for it. And I like this kind of the color scheme. I thought it looks very cool. But yeah, if you guys aren't reading Undead Unluck, I definitely recommend trying it out. I'd give it 3 to 4 volumes before to see if you really like it or not. I wasn't digging it the first 2 volumes, honestly. I just thought it was kind of mid. But each volume, I swear, gets better. It's starting to leave that mid category, in my opinion. It's in that, slightly better than mid, but still not one of the greats. Mashal, on the other hand, man, Mashal is mid-city, in my opinion. This volume is better than the last 3, but still not great. I did enjoy this, this just awesome action. It is like a B action movie, in my opinion. This is more of a spoof on Harry Potter than it is anything else. I'm not a big fan of Harry Potter, so maybe that's why I don't find as much interest in this series. But it is starting to get a little bit better, at least in this volume, because the fighting I thought was great. But the story just seems kind of to me. Hopefully it can take me in the other direction. It's not bad enough that I would want to drop it, but it's not good enough that if, it was sold out, I'd be like, oh man, when's it going to come back in? I'd be like, yeah, it's out of stock, whatever. It'll come in when it comes in. So yeah, definitely, I like it. It's good. I love the action. Mashal is hilarious. Mash himself is hilarious. I mean, look, he's sitting on this throne of swords. People think he's stopping time without using magic and all this stuff. It's pretty cool. You find a little bit about the undercover kind of organization that's going on here. But yeah, just okay. Mao is pretty good. I gotta say, Mao is giving me mad Inuyasha vibes. If you like Inuyasha, I think you'd really like Mao. However, I'm starting to wonder what really is going on in Mao, because we find out when she goes back in time, a varying amount of time can pass. Sometimes it's a few months, sometimes it's a few minutes, sometimes it's a few hours. We also find out that Mao might have been set up, whatever that means. And we further find out more about this earthquake and where Bayaki is. We also start to suspect about, our main character's grandma, Nanoka, after reading, what's it called? Sayonara Football. I'm getting Nanoka. Now I can't say it anymore. I'm just gonna call our main character girl. Their two names are very similar, so I know I read it like a month ago, but it's still stuck in my head. But yeah, we find out that Mao's got this sick 7-tailed, 9-tailed sword. I don't know how else to say that. He looks like the 9-tailed fox from Naruto, but he's only got 7 tails. This cat-like demon, I'm starting to suspect, was actually just regular cat from his past. And we also find out that Mao was like betrayed. And so the cat and him made a deal. The demon cat, maybe this cat. I don't know. I don't know if it's the same cat. And I guess he had a crush on this girl back then who, looks kind of similar to our main character girl. So it's kind of like Kagome and what was her name? Shoot, it's been so long since I read Inuyasha. The Saint Archer. Kikyo? Yeah, Kikyo, that was it. But yeah, we also find out more about our main character, how she, came upon her accident, how come her grandpa was seemingly fine after being on his deathbed, things like that. Very interesting series. I really like Rumiko Takahashi's work, and I think she's killing it with Mao, but I just have more questions being answered faster than I would have expected. I feel like there's not much of a journey right now. In Inuyasha, there was a lot of traveling and progressing, but right now they're pretty much staying in one area, hunting down this one demon, who I'm starting to think isn't even a bad guy. So I am really liking it still. I'm just like, they ended, Volume 3 ended in a part where I'm just like conflicted. I'm like, these guys, are they even doing the right thing? Like really? Are you guys are you wasting my time? What's happening here? I don't know. I just want to know. It's like if I read the next volume, I would probably have a more positive outlook on Mao. But I am really liking it. It is really good. I just am left on this what are you doing? You stupid characters. It seems so obvious to me that, this cat is actually good. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'm just wrong. But that's just what it seems like is going on. Dai Dark Volume 3 from the same creator of Dorohedoro. This is such a sick artwork here. I really like this guy's Paggy. I thought that was very interesting. This guy's a liar. He says he's 16. I call bullshit. They call bullshit. We tried to sell him to our famous dark net sales clerk here. But, death isn't falling for it. Therefore, our main character isn't falling for it. He's like, oh, wow, so we can get it for a lot more? Great, let's do that then. And so he does. He comes back to his own ship. This is just, nasty. Very cool, though. You can see he's got a little boopy on him, Volume 3. But yeah, we are still kind of slowly understanding this world a little bit more, slowly understanding more about meatball spaghetti, and slowly traveling the world. We get double crossed here, but it's not really double crossed because we find some nice useful bones on board, and we feed it to our nice spider. But I can't say much happens in this series, or this volume, and I guess series so far. It's just an interesting read, an interesting world. This reminds me of the Guts armor so much because it just takes him over, and this guy just can't die for some reason. I'm interested to see what more is going on with him. He reminds me of Saiyan, so when he dies, he gets stronger, and his body puts himself back together, which is kind of un-Saiyan-like, but still very interesting. Meatball Spaghetti still killing it. Death still literally slaying. But yeah, it's an interesting series, and I'm more and more involved in the world as it gets built. I just can't wait to see where it goes. Is there even going to be a plot? I don't know. The weird thing is, even though I really like plot-driven stories, I don't really care if it goes anywhere, which is bizarre for me. Bofori, I don't want to hurt, so I'll max my defense. Volume 3. We continue on with our nice medal tournament to get the grand prize. We learn some new skills, we go through some cool dungeons, and we meet some fun friends. That is a very quick synopsis of what happens. We also get these very cute little pets here, which are cool. The tournament is almost over. Oh, we get to also go to that cool underwater place that I briefly slid past. And, you know, Maple gets to fight a little clone of her friend, and her friend gets to fight a clone of Maple. Very cool, very cool. I enjoyed watching that fight quite a bit for both of them. I'm interested to see how she actually took out Maple, because Maple is seemingly indestructible, especially with the added skills the doppelganger gets. But again, I'm very interested to see how this story ends and learn more about this girl. She was very interesting to me. The other guy was cool. I think he's got more to him than meets the eye, especially this interesting wand that's like a Rubik's Cube. But whatever, this is another cool kind of video game isekai that I really like a lot. I recommend it too, you know, for sure. If you guys like that kind of thing, like Sword Art Online, this has also got a very strong female lead. So my girlfriend actually enjoys it quite a bit too, because she was whining to me. She's like, where are all the good female isekai? And so I guess that's kind of what got me on this, like pointing it out kind of a habit, is because she was, you know, complaining about it, and it wasn't something I really thought about before. You know, not being a woman, it's not really on my mind as to, you know, search for somebody to relate to. But yeah, so she's been enjoying it. I really have enjoyed this series just all the way through. Overall, just a good, fun story, very lighthearted. There haven't been any huge stakes really at this point. The admins are just trying to take down Maple, which I think is great. I like to see that kind of a thing happen in Sword Art. You know, it kind of happens, but not quite. J.K. Haru, my cat hair was all over it. J.K. Haru is a sex worker in Another World Volume 2. This one my girlfriend actually dropped. I'm not going to show too many pages because I could run across some inappropriate things. But she's dropping it because she felt like it was a little bit too perverse or / grotesque for her. She really enjoyed the first one quite a bit. She read a few chapters in the second one and was just like done halfway through the chapter because she just didn't like the direction it was, and in the uncomfortable situation they put J.K. Haru in. I did like it because I felt like it was more of a realistic, you know, situation. Being a sex worker isn't just, you know, all fun and games. There are some very, you know, rough situations to find yourself in, I'm sure. And so this showcases one of them, and it really just takes it pretty far. But J.K. Haru does get saved, which is great. And I think that the author just kind of wanted to point this out as not only an analogy for both this world, but also the real world, that these things do happen as well. I think she's going to kind of start to explore the world. I hope. I wanted that more at the end of the first volume. I wanted her to go explore the world, but she didn't. She's still at the Blue Cat Inn or whatever it's called, and she's not gone anywhere, which is too bad. This story is very mature. It is a very different take on the isekai formula. I do enjoy it, and I'm going to continue to read it. I can't be too disappointed in it unless she doesn't ever travel the world, which if she doesn't, it's going to kill me, because I want her to grow as a character. Right now, she's just, you know, clinging to money. But I want her to kind of like grow as a character and be stronger and just become an adventurer, or, you know, at least travel the world. The other guy who got isekai'd with her doesn't even want to beat the villain, because if he beats the villain, he's going to go back to the main world where, you know, best case scenario, everything goes back to the way it was before they were killed. But, you know, that sucks for him because he was a total loser. And, you know, he doesn't want to do that. And then there's also the other side of the story is her friends and whatever friends he had, you know, have already moved on and forgotten about them. And, you know, the families have mourned them and everything. And, you know, they could go home to that, you know, after everybody thinks they're dead, or they could just go back and they're dead, you know, and then there's nothing to do. And they just go to heaven or hell, whatever. So that's another thing that they're kind of nervous about. So that's why they don't want to defeat the main villain. But like, come on. Like, really? An isekai where they don't beat the demon king? It can't be. It just can't. So I feel like it has to be her, because her friend, or whatever you want to call him, that she got sent here with, is just such an incompetent and such a prick. He's an asshole. And so I really want her to be the one to realize she's got an awesome cheat skill and just take over. But, you know, we will see. Time will tell what happens. My Isekai Life. I gained a second character class and became the strongest sage in the world. So our main character here is seemingly like a game designer, complaining about crunch and having to work 3-hour shifts. He dies, or no, he doesn't die. I guess maybe he dies in a stroke or something. But this pop-up comes up in the middle of his work. And it says that you've been summoned to another world. Hit yes to go. Hit no to refuse. If you don't put anything, then we're assuming you mean yes. So he's like, oh, I got a computer virus because that's asking me if I want to be Isekai'd, and there's no truck around, right? So yeah, I'm going to restart my computer, see if that goes away. So he ends up taming all these slimes, and with the slime's ability to read, he learns all of these spells by just finding this hut nearby in like a second, which is really cool. So he learns all these skills and he gains his character class called Sage, which doesn't seem to exist in this world, though him being a tamer does. However, tamers can't use magic, but he can use all this magic because he read all these books. Well, rather, these slimes read all these books for him. He only read like a few of them. And so he is just a beast. He goes to take the guild exam and he just kills it. He thinks it's kind of funny because he thinks he's just really weak in this world and he thinks it's a dream. And so he's like, oh, maybe I should do things like, like this because that's what they're saying the way they should be done. And so he does it, and they're even stronger because, when you do it correctly, just like in everything else, it's always better. Like in Naruto, when you do the hand signs, it's always better to use 2 hands instead of no hands or 1 hand, that kind of a thing, just as an example. And so this actually, I liked it quite a bit. I like this one more than the Exo Games one, which I didn't think I was going to do going forward. I thought that this was going to be kind of a spoof isekai that was gonna have my time as a slime and Konosuba and all that in here, but no, it doesn't. It's not at all that. It's just a straightforward isekai, which I like so far. It has a good story. It is exactly the same tropes every isekai has, except this guy's a tamer. I guess that's kind of different, but otherwise, it's pretty much the same as most isekai. If you like isekai in fantasy worlds, you'll like this. If you don't, you won't. It's as straightforward as that. Lastly, The Breaker, Volume 2. Our main character guy finally gets, to show you guys the 1/2 nipple in the whole goddamn volume. Great. Our main character starts to develop as a character. He gets to develop his Shi powers, and the mystery of the 9 Dragon Door starts to unravel, as well as the world that his nurse and his friend here, his teacher, are coming from. We start to learn more about that. We get to see more about what this pill did to this main character and more about his innate ability. Best of all, we get some awesome action and some great fighting scenes. You gotta like that the most for sure. The Breaker is a great series. Blaze manga rather will probably take over and go into Breaker New Waves as well. I hope that these guys here, the authors and artists, end up making the Breaker Part 3, which is supposed to be the last part. But again, last I checked, nothing has really come of that yet. I hope by the time Ablaze finishes up Breaker New Waves, we get Part 3 at least started. But, time will tell. The Breaker is just a really good kind of kung fu story. If you guys like that kind of a thing, I would definitely recommend reading it. But what about you guys? What did you read? What did you like out of my reading log? Did you like anything out of it? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if I interested you in any manga at all. Let me know if you read any interesting manga, and I'll be sure to check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another manga reading log. Bye-bye!